Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Small Success Podcast. Okay, we are back. We took an unintentional, well, it was intentional. We had some fall break things happening around here, but we are so excited to be back and ready for this conversation today. I am Pam Downing. I'm the Operations and Marketing Strategist here at Larison Media, and I'm really excited to introduce you to the people I'm in the room with. So first, my co-host, Drew Larison. How are you, Drew?
I'm fantastic. Happy to be here, ready and excited for this podcast. And as always, Pam, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Really good to have you here. And everyone, I'm really excited to introduce you to our guest today. His name's Austin Rhodus. He's the Chief Executive Officer of DREEM Nutrition. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks. I'm excited.
Me too.
And I'm close to my mic.
As you should be.
Feeling good.
You're following instructions.
Yes,
so it's
sir.
good.
Okay, Austin, we have all the questions. So first we want to ask you about your background. Tell us about yourself and DREEM Nutrition.
Sure. So my name is Austin Rhodus. I am 30 years old. I went to Tri-Central High School. After high school, I went to the military. So I lived in Hawaii for 8 years. That's how committed I am to Kokomo. Came back to Kokomo after Hawaii. I always get that question. I'm like, what are you doing here?
It's a genuinely great question.
Hawaii is a great place, but
I've
it's
been
just
there
it's crowded and it's really expensive. It's
Yeah.
like, I mean, you're talking like $8 for a gallon of milk.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
I went as a kid. Like my parents went on their honeymoon, and then Dad always said our 25th wedding anniversary we'll go back.
Aww.
So like my brother and I got to tag along on that 25th trip, 25th anniversary trip. And the number one example I give people when they ask me about Hawaii is like, yeah, it's like $6 for a gallon of milk.
It's a lot
because they don't have like dairy cows on the island.
No cows.
So it's all imported,
Sure.
so to speak, imported. Yep. That's funny. That's always the example I give.
And it's not like a Caribbean island, like it's a little quick trip down there. I mean, it's Hawaii.
Oh, yeah.
It's
It's a 9-hour flight from Minneapolis or something.
It's
like
you're gonna be about 9 hours.
Yeah.
Probably land in Cali first, but it's so it's a good place. But I lived there for 8 years. Did the military thing for 5 years. Was on a submarine.
wow.
Yeah, glad I did it. Glad it's over.
Well, that's the thing. You never actually saw Hawaii. You were underwater the whole time.
I mean, I was in. So I did 5 years in the military, and then I stayed for 3 years after, just to kind of get like a little bit of the civilian life taste in Hawaii.
Okay.
So that was good. Under recording studio there for a few years, and got introduced to CBD products in 2015. I had a buddy that gave me some CBD because I was having trouble sleeping after being in the military.
Okay.
And that's what launched the trajectory of DREEM Nutrition and the business that we're in now. So that's kind of how I got into it in a nutshell.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
so is the word dream because you were having a hard time sleeping?
So it originally started as CB Dream, and it was a nighttime product. So we mixed CBD with melatonin. So we had a patent pending on CBD syrup mixed with melatonin. So we were one of the first people to do that.
Do you still have that?
The patent,
The product, I guess?
we do not have that product.
Okay. 'Cause I take melatonin every night.
So that product was, we were making that in my kitchen when we first started the company, and then we outsourced manufacturing, and then we just went through a lot of growth periods where some companies were taking our product and putting their name on it, and we got some wishy-washy legal advice that a patent and stuff is not really a good route to go. And so we didn't end up pursuing the patent. And so that product, we kind of just walked away from that product and moved into where we are today, and just kind of let karma handle that situation. So we don't still have it, but the company, we're thinking about launching it again. So we have our own lab now, and we're thinking about doing that. So it started with CB Dream. It was a nighttime product. We had a lot of people that were calling us CBD Ream, and it just really just vibrated me wrong in my head space.
Sure.
So we
I like that vibrated me wrong.
it was put me in the wrong vibration. So we went to Dream CBD, the brand, DREEM Nutrition, the company. This is where it came from.
Yeah, there's been a few branding transitions.
Yeah. You have to grow. It's been 5 years now almost. So there's some transitions.
Yeah, we were
there.
something else when we started too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And here you are,
Here we are.
podcasting.
Look at us now.
Look at you.
Oh, come on. Look at you.
Okay, I have a lot of follow-up questions.
Follow them up.
I don't want to let this slide. You said you owned a recording studio
I did.
in Hawaii,
I did.
and talk to us about that. Was that music?
You can tell
Did
by
you
how
podcast?
good he is with a mic right
Yeah,
now.
so I had a recording studio. I did a lot of like hip hop, local music,
Cool.
like ukulele kind of stuff like that. So I
That's
just
awesome.
built a recording studio in my like 500 square foot apartment in Hawaii.
Yes.
And I've always had a passion for music and
So are you yourself a musician?
I wouldn't call myself that. I'm better at post production. So I'm the guy usually behind the computer that I do a little mixing and mastering so that's what I did for a while. And I did some events out there. So I did the Pro Bowl after party for a couple of years. I did the promoting for that and did a lot of event promoting and different things like that. So
Did you say ukulele hip hop, or were those two separate things?
in Hawaii, sometimes they'll blend.
I love that.
Yeah, they can be two separate things, but they get funky out there, man.
Love
It's
it.
a good place to be.
Do you have anything we can link to online that would give
That still
our
exists out there?
listeners a little sample?
That's a great
of-
question.
We can chat about it after
Yeah,
the
let
podcast.
me dig.
That is really
We'll
cool.
put something in the show notes.
Yeah.
Okay, so a friend introduced you to CBD products to
Yeah.
help you with your own personal issues with
Yes.
sleeping. Okay, so talk to us. So for people who aren't local, we're in Kokomo. We're in the middle of Indiana. We're not close to Hawaii. So talk to us about how you came, which I know this is home for you. So how did you make that transition from Hawaii back to central Indiana? And talk to us about your transition, but then your business's transition in that time too.
Sure. So there's really two main things. I wanted to be back close to family.
Yeah.
It was a big thing. I was gone for 8 years. So, and it's really hard for people, as much as they want to visit Hawaii, it's hard to get out there. It's really expensive. It's a long trip. So, family was a big driver to come back here. And then also we were at the point where we started employing people and we had kind of warehouse space and I wanted to do that here. So I wanted to employ people here and bring that back to my hometown and kind of I wanted to come back and bring the education on the products and the movement back to Indiana because it wasn't really, there wasn't a lot happening here with that at the time. So that was kind of the big drivers for that.
You talk costs too. I mean, imagine
Yeah,
the scale you're at now.
Sure.
Is still in Hawaii.
Yeah,
It'd be
and
nuts.
it's ridiculous. I mean, and even just last year or earlier this year, no, last year, we had to put manufacturing back in Hawaii for a little bit because we just have so many issues with labs. There's no standard, there's no standard testing and procedures in the CBD space right now.
Still
We're not
Wild Wild
regulated.
West.
Yeah, so we had some manufacturers that we found were shorting the products and we weren't at a position where we could manufacture ourselves yet. So we went to a lab in Hawaii, which was an old friend of mine that owns one of the cannabis testing facilities there. And so we brought our manufacturing back out there. So you're talking about shipping glass bottles to Hawaii and then back to here. And so our carrier oils, like our hemp seed oil and MCT oil and different things, shipping those to Hawaii, the shipping costs more than the oil costs. So
That's not good.
Yeah.
for
so
us.
that wasn't efficient for us. So
Yeah.
yeah. So now that we have our own lab, it's much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. So, I'd like to ask a little bit more about why was it important for you? I know because of family, but you talked about employing people and wanting to bring that kind of back to to home turf, so to speak. Why is that important to you?
I think it was just, it almost felt a little bit like an obligation
Okay.
because it was, I don't know. I just really have an instinctual appetite to do that. I think it's really, I think, a lot of us entrepreneurs around here are passionate about Kokomo and Howard County in general and Indiana really when it comes down to it. So I think that, and it was a great business opportunity because there wasn't a lot of people doing it here. So
Yeah.
I can't say that there wasn't a little bit of that involved because it definitely was, we had the opportunity to start educating our legislators and, representatives and senators at the state house and a lot of different people about the products because there wasn't a lot of people here doing it. So
Sure.
a lot of us were forced to go out of state to engage in the industry. So coming back here was just really, it was a mission driven objective, I think.
Cool.
So it was, I'm very, we're a veteran owned company and I'm very mission oriented. I think that's what really has to, I have to be a part of something that's a mission. And I think that kind of gave me a little bit of that fulfillment to come back here.
Cool.
And I just, know a lot of people here. I wanted to work with people that I know, I wanted to be around family. And I wanted to be part of bringing that industry to Indiana. That was really something that I had the desire to do.
Nice.
We're similar in those ways. Like when I started Larissa Media, I had like the dream of creating something modern marketing in a town where like that kind of just didn't exist on like the scale that we're doing it now.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, I love the idea of us growing and people moving to Kokomo to work for a company like we are when there's other positions in bigger cities, and like building that in Kokomo is an exciting thing.
I think showing people that it can be done is fun, because a lot of people don't think that it can be done.
Yeah.
People just, I think in sometimes in towns like Kokomo, you just find people that just have so much salt and talk about just wanting to leave, and you have to leave to make things happen. And
it's not true.
It's just not the case at all.
Especially the world we're in with the internet. I mean, that definitely doesn't exist.
Yeah. You can live anywhere when you're on the internet.
You're reminding me of my next tattoo that I want to get, actually.
Ooh, what's that?
I know this is random, but I have been thinking about this a lot lately.
Really?
I love the phrase "shock the world." It actually has like homage to Michigan as well, which I'm a big like Michigan athletics fan. When the basketball team won it in '89, they are in no way supposed to win like the NCAA championship, and they did. And like the announcer doing the game was like, "They shocked the world. They shocked the world." And like that's kind of like the vibe I want us to have. And like the same type of conversation we're having, like a little company in Kokomo doing big things. Let's shock the world.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So,
Shock them.
Yeah.
Dang.
I know, right? Now he's going to get it before me now.
I might.
You can get matching tattoos.
I'm booking an appointment right now.
Okay, Austin, I'd love to know, you've touched on this a little bit, but what makes Dream Nutrition unique as a business? Kind of double question. What makes you unique as a business owner?
It's a great question. I think there could be a few different answers to that, but I think that what makes myself unique and what makes our company unique is very similar in the fact that I think we're unique. One, just because we have a company that there's not a lot of
you're really a front runner.
There's not a lot of companies around here that are in the space that we're in. I think there are now, but there weren't a few years ago. So I think that in itself, kind of being in the hemp and CBD industry is unique. There's just not a lot of people that are doing it. But I think really what we try to instill in the company is we believe that consumer consciousness is shifting. So the way people buy products, the way people consume. I know you guys as a marketing agency probably understand this and get that vibe, but we really cater all of the procedures and everything that we do in our company to that shift and trying to empower that shift. So our slogan is empowering human vitality. And we sell different, we follow up different, we make products different, and we just try to support that. So we really try to remove all ego from the equation. So that's a really big thing for us, is we try to treat the company like it is almost another human or another team member, and we try to cater everything we do to that. What the company needs. So it's really a culmination of things, but I think it's just really, we just kind of do things differently. We sell different. It's all about value add. It's all about providing value to stores and customers and potential clients, and not always trying to sell them things, but trying to empower, like genuinely trying to empower humans and other people. And that, it seems like when you try to sell less and you just try to provide value, you get more clients. So
yeah, and you said something earlier about educating. I feel like that probably falls within this train
huge
of thought
thing
too.
in your world.
Yeah.
It's a lot of education, and when we do seminars, we do a lot of seminars. We're going to have a few coming up too. So we're going to have a seminar that's going to be strictly for law enforcement and their families. There's just a lot of misinformation for law enforcement, and I think they're kind of having some issues distinguishing products. We're going to have one of those, and then another public-facing consumer lecture. But it's a lot of education. When we do seminars, we talk about our products, but we don't get up there and we're not like dream. That's it. That's all you should use. We're the best.
Pitch.
Yeah. So it's all, we go in, we educate, we empower the consumer to make the best decision. And if Dream is the best decision for you, then we're going to do everything we can to make that valuable to you. But if it's not, then cool. Let's go hang out still. Yeah. Not a big deal.
I would push back because CBD is just blowing up.
Sure.
So really being a company that deals in the world of CBD really isn't becoming unique anymore, because it's one of the fastest growing things right now. But one thing I think you are doing that is unique to your world, and I've seen it online, is you're actually starting to grow your own hemp and using that for your own products.
Right.
Which, there's a lot of CBD companies, like you said, like the testing is not standardized and there's no regulation on it. God knows where they're getting that, hemp product from.
Yeah.
With yours, it's very clear. And now you have your own labs. I mean, so that is something unique that I think you're doing that a lot of people will probably find value in, because shoot, you can buy a bottle of CBD oil at like any gas station
anywhere,
these days, and God knows where it came from. But I will say one thing Indiana has done, which I think kudos to Indiana, is that need of that QR code, which a lot of states don't have that, where every bottle of CBD product has to have that QR code that scans, you scan it, immediately goes to a third party lab test, basically proving that it has the amount of CBD oil that's on the bottle or in the packaging. So I mean,
correct.
Good for Indiana on that, because cream rises to the top. I'm a true believer of that, and that will help a lot of the companies that are doing it legitimate ways.
Well, we're the only state that's done that.
Yeah, which is crazy to me.
Well, we were the first state. I don't know if we're the only still, but we were the first state. So that was Senate Bill 52 that we put in last session, 2018.
And I love Indiana, but like, we're easily not known for progressive ideas.
Sure.
No,
but like, good for us on that.
If you show up late, you can show up the best dressed.
It's true.
Right. So, and that's what Indiana does a lot. I mean, we're ranked very high in government. And, I think that when it comes to things like that, Indiana doesn't move fast, but we move right.
Yeah.
And we took
we
the
observe
time. We took some time, and because other states that really jumped into hemp and did a lot of different things really fast, they've had some issues. We've had issues, but not like, in comparison to some other states. So
we've set back and learned from all the other issues.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, so that is one area that I think you really are unique, and that's an investment too. It's not just an idea. Yeah. It's a massive investment.
It's a lot.
So yeah, I'd push back that overall CBD really isn't a unique industry anymore, because it's blowing up. But what you're doing in the industry, I find really unique.
Yeah. And it's really about transparency for us. So, growing the plants and everything, any part of the process that we do at our facility, whether, it's grandma that uses one bottle a month or one of our largest clients, you can come in and see the whole process. So you can
tours and stuff like
you can come in and see our lab. You can come in and see our plants when they're drying. The QR codes that we have on our products, they go a little bit further too. So you can go on, you can actually see every ingredient that it takes to make our product, any flavoring, any carrier oil, anything. We show the sourcing, the product ID code. I mean, I'll tell you how long it takes to ship the units out if the ingredients out. It's just not, we don't hide behind the proprietary name tag all the time. It's just because it's all, I don't believe I need somebody else to do bad in order for me to do good. So it's just because somebody has the opportunity to recreate our products, it's about the value that we provide outside of the products, the branding, the education and different things like that. So transparency is really big for us.
Have you had any, this is interesting to me because of the world you're in, frankly, but like, have you had any schools that would love to do like a field trip type of thing with their agricultural students, want to come out, or is that still like kind of a gray line when it comes to schools? Hey kids, let's go to a warehouse where there's a bunch of hemp.
Yeah, it's we've been engaging with more schools, mainly on the college level. I wouldn't say that there's too many elementary schools kicking down the doors like, let me come show the kids the hemp. But colleges are really looking to engage in the industry from an agriculture perspective.
There's still a part of me that like they should.
Why? Yeah.
Like the more, I don't know, this is my viewpoint, but like the more we normalize this at the kids at a younger age, the better I think it is.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's also just, I think that at that stage of life, I think you just need to be exposed to as many different trajectories as possible.
Sure.
I think that when you go in and that's when you start creating boxes, and where you start being, you're told to sit down and color inside the lines. And so I think that if there are just as many different trajectories or possibilities or potentials that you could do as a child, then that would be good. Because if I was in third grade and, somebody took me to a big hemp operation, I would be like, yep, that's what I want to do. Like, click, check the box. Yeah. And then I would just, but it wasn't exposed like that. It was, hemp wasn't a big thing when we were in elementary school, but it was, the whole plant was just so taboo. And,
Sure.
I've heard that they don't even talk about marijuana in DARE programs anymore.
Really?
I'm not sure if that's true because I don't go through DARE anymore, but
I don't know.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
I have a daughter in kindergarten, so I'll hear those things sooner or later.
Yeah. But, I think it's just, a lot of education, and colleges are definitely getting engaged and wanting to bring students out, and students are like just dying to learn about it.
Purdue's
Sure.
diving deep into it. I think.
Purdue's
Well,
been, yeah.
And there's several different layers to what you do, right? Like there's an agricultural component, interesting to one group of young adults. There's a laboratory. There's an entrepreneurial aspect. I mean, there's the logistics. Like there's a lot of legs to what you do.
Sure.
And that's, I mean, that can be all encompassing.
Yeah.
Very
There's
cool.
a lot. There's a lot.
Okay, Austin, we want to ask you about some of the challenges that you've had with your business. I mean, and you can get as specific or as general as you want, but I mean, you're successful. You're 5 years into this. You're growing. Like you have a track record of success. We have yet to interview a small business owner who has said, no, never faced a challenge.
Been pretty easy.
Yeah.
It's been pretty easy. No bumps in the road.
It's never easy. I could give you a whole pamphlet of challenges that we've had. Really, a lot of them that we've had to really force ourselves to focus on are the issues of owning a hemp company, which include, getting bank accounts shut down.
Just existing.
Yeah, just literally just
Yeah.
operating like a normal business. And at least 3 times a quarter, once a month, I wake up and I'm like, what is it like to just run a normal business?
Wow. Yeah,
Like, what is it
that's
like to just walk in a bank and here's what I do, and I'd like to put my money here, and I'd like
They're
to
begging you to do it.
yeah, and so
Sure.
that's not the world we live in.
Wow.
Even to this day, there's a lot of laws and bills that have changed and a lot of policies that have changed. But as of 2 or 3 months ago, 3 months ago, I think we had our merchant account shut down again. So
Wow.
0 credit card processing. And as a business, a small business especially, that can be detrimental to your business. I mean, it's hard. It just is not good.
Oh, yeah.
So, that still happens, and that's probably happened to us maybe. We've maybe had 5 merchant accounts shut down over 5 years.
Wow.
Some of them happen like back to back to back, like 3 times in a year. I've had Instagram accounts shut down. So when we first started the company, we were just running off Instagram. So myself and the other business partner had done some marketing stuff, and so we had about 80,000 followers on Instagram in like 3 months. And I was like, wow, this is something that I'd like to probably do for a business.
Sure.
And so we were running all of our business off Instagram, and then shut down. Lost all the clients. And at that time, we weren't, knowledgeable enough to extract our clients off of the social platform. It was just, you have an Instagram and then you have it forever. And that's just not how it works. So we had that shut down. I am completely banned from running ads on Facebook. Like my debit cards, my credit cards, my name, I don't know, my shoe size and everything. Everything about me is old Zucky doesn't like. So I'm completely banned from that. I can't do ads on Facebook. There are some workarounds to that, though.
There's becoming more and more.
Yeah. But bank accounts shut down. We just lost a bank account a month ago. So it was just, hey, got a letter in the mail. We're just doing normal business. Got a letter that said, hey, we're going to go ahead and just shut your account down. And you're gonna have to take all your money out and figure something else out. So, that on top of running a normal business is just not fun. So those are big hurdles. And then we are now with First Farmers, which has been completely open to hemp, and they understand the laws now.
I mean, if any bank would
They've been
sense.
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody that's engaged in the industry in any way, that's the place to go.
They're
right
educated in it.
Because they took the time to be educated,
Yeah.
And that's all it really takes. So, those are big hurdles, and the taboo of the plant has been a big hurdle. So I think a lot of people just think that we're all just, stoners with tie-dye t-shirts making stuff in our garage, and that's been a big driver of how
Which,
we
even
operate.
though that's true, that doesn't mean you're.
Of course, right.
No,
There's more to it than that, right? So I think it's, showing people that they're legitimate business people, that, we don't do anything on the THC side. It's all CBD, it's hemp, and we're legitimate business people. And there are other business people like us that want to engage in the industry. So that was a big thing.
Yeah.
Educating, the state and legislators that there are investments to be made in Indiana. There's another, Third Wave Farms is opening up in Kokomo. They're putting in a drying facility, and they're business out of state. You go ask, and I don't think any of those guys are from Indiana.
There's 3 or 4 farms in our area growing hemp right now.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, for us, and that's where it comes back to the healthy ego. It could be easy for me to look at that and say, oh, well, what are you, you coming into K-Town, this is my town,
Mm-hmm.
and that's not how it is at all, because that's what we fought for, is to bring the investment to the state.
Well, in your head too, like the more it's normalized, and by normalized I mean more people doing it, the better long term and the less headaches you're going to have.
Yeah, sure. And it's a big industry. Like I have the way we operate, man, I don't require anybody else to have less clients or to do bad I just don't focus on that. Mm-hmm. It's up to me. If you move in next to me and you do the same exact thing that I do, then let's rock out, man. It's still up to me to do good and to operate and serve our clients in the way that we do it. So, and it gets me excited. The more people that are here, the better. The more services we can offer farmers, and we can, diversify our agriculture here in Indiana.
Because that's the thing too about hemp. I mean, the big thing right now is the CBD oil that comes from hemp. But hemp as a plant in general could take over so many things.
Yeah.
Like plastics could be made from hemp, like building materials, so many things where we're unbelievably just scratching the surface of this plant.
Absolutely.
That used to be dominant way back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nuts.
I mean, it's CBD oil is really one of the smallest aspects of hemp. I mean, when you look at textiles and hempcrete and different things, that's all projected to be bigger than the steel industry. Yeah. So, I mean, our concept is anything that you use and throw away within 5 minutes should all be made from hemp. Like that should be the first place that we go. Paper towels, toilet paper, paper plates, coffee cups, all that kind of stuff can be made from hemp. And it should be, and that's what
because it's insanely sustainable. Because the plant itself grows freaking fat. It's like bamboo to me, which is why you see a lot of like sustainable green products made from bamboo. Because bamboo, as a plant, just grows so quickly
after it's in the ground for a long time.
Sure,
yeah. But I mean, it's that same kind of thing.
But it grows fast once. But I mean, here's the question: is it more sustainable than chopping trees down?
No.
Yes.
I mean, yes. Sorry. Yes.
It is.
I answered the opposite.
So, I mean, it's just that simple. So, it's all about just integrating big businesses in. And that's where it comes back to the shift in consumer consciousness, right? Consumers want to support companies that are more sustainable.
It's on us, right?
It's the way it's going.
It's classic dollar vote.
Yeah.
Like it's up to our dollar vote to really make this happen.
Yeah.
Well, and something that I appreciate about what you're saying, Austin, is this transparency component. Because I feel like there is this new wave of consumer consciousness. I, myself, as a consumer, I'm trying to be more conscious, but there's still a lot of like either misinformation or I haven't taken the time to be educated. There's just this like, oh, there's a green tree on these paper plates. They must be the better choice.
I bet they're more expensive.
These. Yeah, they're more expensive too. But like that component of education and transparency as a consumer, I think is really important because you're right. That is kind of this new, not a trend. I think it's people are starting to learn more. They're caring more. Like there's probably a bunch of layers to the why behind that shift in consumers. But the transparency is really key to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it definitely helps really cool. a lot.
And it's so easy. And that's what, we were doing we had a strategy meeting a couple years ago and we had like the big fun Post-it notes up on the wall and we're writing down things that make us unique. Yeah. And we're like, what makes us unique? And because it's easy to get caught up in the day-to-day of things and you understand what makes you unique, but are you speaking that and are you projecting that to other people? And so we were talking and we wrote down something like, we do the right thing. And we were like, why is that on the unique Post-it? And
unfortunately it is.
It is. And it is because it's, I think business for a long time, big business has got to the point where it's a lot of it is toxic. It is about fooling consumers. It's about ego. It's driven by the dollar, which dollars are great. Hey, I've got nothing against them, but you can easily make them doing the right thing. But why is that a unique behavior now? And I think that's where like you said, vote with your dollar. Yeah. Consumers want to support businesses where they know the owner, they understand the people behind the company, the culture, what the company stands for, what are they doing with their dollars, and being transparent with all that is a big factor in that.
Yeah, I'd like to go back to something that you were talking about, and I feel like I've heard this called the abundance mentality, where you're like, there's quote unquote competition coming in, but that's kind of part of this. Like you're bringing the investments into Indiana. And I love that attitude of there's not just this limited amount of pie and you've got to have the biggest piece of pie. It's like there's room for everyone, and some parts of competition maybe spur businesses on to be better or grow. And regardless of your industry, which it is specific to you and interesting, but like you could own a pizza place.
Sure.
There's room for all of us, and there's room for everyone's success. And because you're succeeding doesn't mean someone else needs to be failing.
Correct.
Well, it's capitalism, right?
Yes.
Competition is unbelievably healthy.
Absolutely.
And, I mean,
what's that saying about boats rising in the
all
harbor?
all tides raise all ship, or high. Yeah, that one. Yeah, that high tides raise all ships. You know, it's this, I mean, think about, all the big, without McDonald's, probably wouldn't have like a Burger King. You know what I'm thinking? Like big, that's
Coke,
all
Pepsi.
because, all those. It's all because of capitalism, and like the idea of competition is an extremely healthy thing. Locally, we don't have a lot of competition. Every now and there's a company, I think, that takes a stab at it. My immediate response is like, let's go. Like, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it.
It's just not, so for us, we're big into, subconscious, and we do a lot of meditation, and we're big into the energy, and
because you're all hippies in the garage.
Correct.
Yeah.
Tie-dye t-shirts and everything. But so I think that for us, I found myself looking at competition sometimes, and I'm saying all this like not as if I'm a master and I never struggle with it. It's just it's definitely a journey and a process to culminate that and really enforce that in your culture. But I think I found myself looking at competition and being salty about it, right? And literally having some thoughts of like, hey, I hope that they don't do well because I want to do well, right? And that's just strictly egos talking. But the thing about it is when I'm doing that to somebody that's in our industry, I'm applying all of this hate or this salt or throwing shade on their operation, but their operation is the exact same thing as what we have, right? So if I'm wanting them to have products seized or whatever it is, like anything that's relevant
that could
to
also
our
happen
industry.
to you.
Well, yeah, because subconsciously my brain doesn't recognize that I'm thinking those bad thoughts about somebody else.
Yeah.
My brain just recognizes that I'm circulating bad vibration, bad energy in my head about hemp and CBD products or business in general, right? So those things could start happening to me without even understanding why that happens. So if I'm just consistently thinking, hey, we've had business relationships with a lot of people over 5 years, right? It doesn't always work out. We don't always align. That's fine. That's perfectly fine. When you leave the table, I practice trying to want to make you be successful. Like I want you to be successful. Genuinely, I want to like spin that feeling of you being successful. I want to have good wishes upon you because that in turn helps me keep my brain healthy, and it doesn't affect our company and our culture.
Mental health, man.
Mental health.
Pam's been talking about, kind of like what you're mentioning without saying the word, I guess, is like just the idea of like manifestation, like putting good things out there.
Yeah.
Vocally, like saying good things out into the world, it comes back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all hacking.
I'll speak in really general terms, but like we've been doing a lot of like thinking and dreaming about like about Larison Media's growth and our trajectory. And some really cool opportunities have been coming our way. And it's like,
and nothing else has changed, other than having those conversations and putting it out there.
Having this attitude of expectancy and opportunity and positivity. It's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So
for the first time, we're like close to like 4.5 years old, and like for the first time, I like sat down with my staff and kind of like you mentioned it earlier. I kind of spit out my vision of like a 5-year of where I want Larison Media to be. And it's easily one of those things, like you were saying, you tell yourself it all the time, but then sometimes we forget to we assume if it's in my head, it's in everybody else's too.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a big assumption.
And I do it all the time. And I get stuck in my own head and I assume, but like sitting down, having that meeting, I'm like, oh my, can I do this every day?
Right.
And I unbelievably did not expect that.
Yeah.
I felt on such a high.
Yeah.
Verbally spitting it out there and then seeing response.
Like the whole team. It was just like this positive, high energy, Yeah,
because now you're enlisting people. Now you're enlisting people, and there's also accountability to speaking it out loud.
Yeah.
So because we had like specific numbers.
Yeah,
so there's a lot of it, like exact accountability.
And when you say those things out loud, you have some accountability now, because now your team is like, hey, Drew, you said 12 months ago that we're going to be here and we're not. Why are you sucking?
Well, sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Are you open to that?
Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, you have to be. If you put it out there.
That's why you have to. And I think that, to what you're saying about manifestation and putting it out there, there are so many, out of everything, like in business right now, the thing that I really have a lot of passion for is leadership, and then sales. Like, I just really enjoy sales. And, the thing about it is, you have to, when I do any type of consulting or something on sales, because I'll do a little bit of stuff on the side here and there, but, when you do any type of consulting there, you know how many people that own businesses, when you ask them, like, what does your ideal day look like? Like, when you wake up, what do you do all day? And then, how many people have that answer in their head?
Little to none.
And it's not because it's not hard. It's hard. It's hard to have that. But if you don't understand what you want out of your day, your life, your business, you can't get it, right?
I'm slowly starting, and this is vulnerable, like I'm slowly starting to get there.
Yeah.
Like, really, and I've had to answer the question, when I go home at night, what has to happen the 8 to 10 hours before that I feel like great day.
Yeah.
And not just like, did cool things happen, but like what I did today made this a great day. And it's slowly figuring that out, and I'm getting there. But one of the things that's been weird for me as a business owner with growth, and maybe you've gone through this as well. Like, when I first started hiring more than one person, like actual growth was really starting to happen, I wrote job descriptions.
Yeah.
And I was super intentional about my employees' job descriptions. They had them. It was very bullet pointed. I mean, it was matter of fact. And then I got to mine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, okay. And that was easily the hardest one to come up with, because there's such an easy answer of like, whatever else is left, and I'll take it
that day.
And I've learned, like, that is such bull.
Yeah.
Like, why should mine be different than what I'm making somebody else's? But at the same time, it's a process.
Sure.
It's really a process filling out your own job description of an owner of a place. And it's not something that maybe clicks overnight. I feel like it's something you just slowly figure out. But yeah, you're 100% right.
And I think that it's hard to, like, I've struggled with that before too, because I don't want to put myself in a box. Or my big thing is procrastination, waiting for myself to know exactly what I should be doing every day. Right. So I'm like, I'm going to put off those bullet points or that schedule because, maybe in another quarter, by Q4 this year, it's really going to click.
Sure.
And I'm really going to understand what I need to do, instead of putting that down on paper and being open to adjusting it later. But at least starting that process of like, hey, here's what you should be doing every day. Because you get, as especially like within leadership or management, any company, you get cloudy. Like, it's very easy to just stack things up, and then you get to the point of overwhelm. And as soon as your body flips into overwhelm, you don't know what to do. You can't do anything. And you just start, and then you're starting, not finishing, and it's easy to be there, and it's hard to get out of that sometimes.
You mentioned like being cloudy. One of my favorite phrases, we talked about him, I guess, before the podcast, but Gary Vaynerchuk, who is one of my main influences in my business life, he has an expression of like being in the clouds in the dirt. Yeah. And that's where I find myself like really trying to focus as much as possible, is as a CEO, as like an owner of something, as the person that's in charge of coming up with the vision of what's next of a company. It's just as important to be in the clouds, which is that 5,000 feet of like, where we at now and where are we going? Seeing those little things from up above. But it's just as important to be like in the dirt as well. Sure. And seeing the things on the ground. And that's a hard thing to do, because sometimes being in the clouds is really fun. Yeah. And it's really fun, but you also know like it's needed. So like you get stuck like maybe just being in the clouds, but also be understanding clouds are worthless without the dirt. Yeah. And you have to be in both 100% of the time. And it's an interesting mindset, but it's hard. It's hard to do it. But like the people that figure that out and how to do it, which goes back to like filling out your own job description. Yeah. There has to be both there. But sometimes being in the dirt is for fun, but in the vision idea scares you. And you're usually like, I don't know what's next. That's a big responsibility to think of like, where are we at in 5 years? Right. So you can get stuck in either one. But when you're able to figure out how to be in both, that's a great place to be, but it's a hard place to be.
And I think that it comes down, you know, what you touched on earlier about when you go home, like, what do you have to do that day to feel fulfilled?
Yeah.
And it's hard building your job description around that and having your bullet points. And because that's a balance, right? And I was just listening to some YouTube videos on the way here about that, about, you know, like what creates happiness. And it's I think a lot of having, it's hard because it's like, it's easy to be happy if you have no expectations, but how can you be happy if you don't have any expectations? So if you are just happy every day when you wake up because you woke up and that's all you need for the day, you're like, hey, any day above ground's a good day. You know, and I kind of say that trying to convince myself that,
which is true.
It is true.
We should be grateful to be here.
But what else? Like, so what does that mean?
All right, what's next? You woke up.
What does that mean? What do you do today?
You just stay in bed? You know what I mean? Like,
I woke up, ready to go to sleep and do it again. That's it. That's
Hopefully
not going to make you
tomorrow will be the
happy,
same.
right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So you have to want more, but you have to be happy with what you have.
Yeah.
And that's the abundance mindset and manifestation of, you know, putting yourself in a position where you can really feel having what makes you happy when you don't have it.
Sure.
How do you make yourself feel like that? You know? And I think that's one of the hard, I mean, for me, like for my business, like this is, I mean, I'm literally so blessed because every single aspect of like what I do every day is what I've wanted to do. Like is always what I've wanted to do. I mean, it's literally like, this is, I love it. You know, it's so much fun. I mean, down to like the way the offices are set up. I mean, it's like crazy manifestation, you know, because it's like I have these offices where it's like clear windows and, you know, it's just like, it's
down to those little
simple stuff.
stupid details,
but
they matter so much. I'm with you
it's
there.
been spinning in my head for so long, but it's easy to, and I had a little bit of a hard time when we first moved into this new office. You know, we have a, you know, we're taking over 34,000 square feet out in Russiaville, and, it's a lot. And so I was in this space and we moved in and I was like so excited, so pumped. And like, we got these big offices and we had all this stuff to do. And then I began to like find myself in so much overwhelm. And so then I was thinking like, man, like I just got like so much of what I wanted, but like, should I be more excited about this right now? Or should I be like, you know, so I found myself kind of spinning in this space of,
do you have a hard time celebrating small wins?
100%.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's what you're saying.
That's the next question on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I felt like you were going. I'm the same way.
100%, man. It's so easy
I feel like
to say
the
what
minute I achieve one thing, I'm immediately, it drives my wife nuts.
Yeah.
Our wives could probably talk and have therapy together.
Probably.
But like it's this weird combination of always moving to be somewhere where I'm satisfied and happy. But at the same time, when I get there, it's immediately gone.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. It's immediately gone.
Immediately.
Like, oh, got it. Next.
Yes.
And that's,
And
that
I
can be
completely
dangerous.
it's unhealthy. I'll admit it.
Yeah.
Because there is so much value in celebrating, like physically celebrating small wins. Give it time. Give it a moment. Let that win have a moment.
Yeah.
Because it's honest, it's probably more healthy for your team than you.
Sure.
You know, because that's
100%.
exhausting to be a member of a team where your boss is never satisfied.
Yeah.
And right when you think you've got him where he is or where she is satisfied, nope, gone. Next, let's go.
It's just having, I mean, I have very high expectations of myself, so naturally I have that of others. And I think that when I do things that bring success, or I'm just like, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. That's my job.
Yeah.
So, but it's all about balance. I mean, it's hard to, I don't know. There's just always so much to do. And I think that I've always tried to, for some reason, I get more excited when I see somebody else do something that I did, because I didn't experience it. So I'm like thinking about the experience that they're having, and I'm like, wow, that would be amazing. Right. So like, if I look back on 5 years ago on where we're at now as a company, and I looked at in my head what I felt like that person was feeling, or like what that person's day to day looked like, or what they manifested. Now it's mine and it's different. And I'm like, this is like kind of cool. But, you know, for
What do they call
me,
that FOMO?
yeah,
We have
it was like
fear of missing out.
5 years ago, I was like, that person is a god.
Yeah.
You know, that person is like, you know, and so now that I'm here, not that I'm not having fun, like I just said, I mean, I'm blessed. This is literally everything I've manifested and wanted. But,
God, this is
there more?
This is a
What's
great
next?
podcast for me.
Yeah.
How does it feel to be sitting in the room with two Enneagram 3s, just bantering back and forth?
I know, I'm like,
I haven't even asked you that, but you are one. Sorry.
oh yeah, are you into the Enneagram?
Have you taken that?
I don't know what that's.
Oh, Austin.
You don't need to. You're a 3. It's fine.
What?
It's a Myers-Briggs-ish type of personality test.
Oh, okay.
But it's so much more.
It's so much more. But it's that category of things.
Okay.
And more.
No, you and your whole team should take it.
yeah.
I just gave you some staff training.
Okay.
You'll love it.
I mean, you'll literally. This is a big statement, but it'll change your life.
Wow.
Literally will. I mean, like I hire
Yeah.
off of it. I like my relationships in my life are different. I understand people on different levels when I know what they are.
It helps you understand yourself too. We'll talk more about this, and we can link all our Enneagram geek stuff.
Enneagram.
Yeah. ENNEAGRAM.
Interesting.
Oh, you're
Life
gonna love
changing
it.
fun.
Okay.
And now
Actually, I'm going
we'll
to
have
apologize
follow up
now
with
because
you.
you're going to spend a lot of your life like looking into it and being obsessed with it now.
Yeah, that's easy for me to do.
Yeah.
I'll get
So sorry.
deep dive rabbit holes.
I'll add in the show notes a link to like an online Enneagram test for our listeners who have
that would
heard
be
us
cool.
like geek out about it. Okay, Austin, flip side of that question. And also as my own like personal observation, I love the original question was about challenges.
Yeah, where did this start?
Yeah, but I really like where our conversation went.
Yeah, that's how a
from
podcast
that.
should be.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So flip side of that question.
Well, actually, one more thing on your challenges.
Yes.
Because I have to say this out of unbelievable respect. I feel like every time I have talked to somebody about challenges, about being a business owner and times are hard, I don't think I've ever told you this, but like I literally bring you up so much in random conversations with people because you talk about like the work you did I think I told you this, but like the work you did at the State House to literally just do your business. I can't give you more respect than I could
Appreciate
tell you.
that.
Because like I compare it to like what if literally tomorrow the
Yeah.
Senate announces like everything internet marketing is illegal. Yeah. Have fun, folks. And like I'm like,
do we do?
"Oh, wait, I'm sorry. What? And like the heart attack I have, just the dream of that,
Yeah.
which I guess is more of a nightmare, is insane. And like that was your life for a good portion of it throughout the 5 years you've been in business. And like unbelievable props and respect to what you and Dream have done to literally fight for the legality of your business. Not like sales sucked or like or like you were talking about all the normal hardships business owners go
to
through.
exist.
Like taxes are hard, or whatever it is, like all the things normal
Yeah.
business owners complain about.
Yeah.
You had literally to fight for your life of your business in such a big way. All the respect in the world.
Thank you, sir.
Continue.
Yeah, totally.
Because I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, no,
Because I talk
it's
about
good.
you a
I'm
lot.
glad you did.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, I really do.
It's been fun. It desensitizes
And
you
not.
to everything else.
Yeah,
So, I
everything
mean,
else seems taxes, no big deal.
Cool. What are we paying? 70%?
Yeah.
All right, no big deal. I mean, as long as we have a bank.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Get the
Yeah.
cash vault because
Yeah,
then we
right.
have all of our money.
Right. Okay, so flip side of that question. Have you seen success with your business? We touched on this a little bit, but
Yeah.
how do you celebrate those successes, if you do?
I don't know. I have a hard time doing that. I mean, that's kind of what we talked about earlier, but I don't know really. I don't know. That's probably something I need to evaluate because I don't have an easy answer for that. I don't really know how we celebrate. I mean, I think it's just, for me, I think the day-to-day ability to own your business and really like fulfill your passion is a really big gift for me. So I don't know that I understand how else to celebrate.
Yeah.
I think that's all I've really focused on is just trying to be thankful and focus on that. So it's hard to, I don't know. I don't know how we celebrate. I think it's just kind of the day to day, understanding that we get to do what we want to do and, just being thankful for what we have. So
The timing of this is good because it's November, right? So it's
Yeah.
if any month is
That's right.
designated to like being thankful and taking
Yeah.
a step back, it's November because of Thanksgiving.
yeah,
Even though we do have some listeners outside of this country, so Thanksgiving
right.
is a holiday where we eat turkey and be thankful for what we have.
It's all about.
yummy.
Yeah, I've learned, and like Pam, since you've been here, like having those moments of celebrating and having a
Me celebrate? What?
Pam loves celebrating, but like that's what I'd tell you is like find somebody in your staff in your world that loves that idea.
yeah,
Just let them run with it.
yeah,
Because it is hard. Like,
Yeah.
and we've obviously learned our heads are similar in a lot of ways. It's hard to like figure that out.
Yeah.
Notice it when it happens, and then give it the time it deserves. Pass it on to somebody else because it means a lot.
yeah. It definitely does, and I think that there's
In my head, it's like the party planning committee
The
on the
PPC.
office.
Yeah.
Make that happen. Find your Angela.
Angela, where are you?
It's
She's
with
there
you.
somewhere.
I think there's always just so much other stuff to think about. Like even when you have a win, it's like, I think in any type of leadership, it's easy to just say, okay, here's a win, but what else is there to do
Well,
there?
especially in your
Like, what
world,
else
like
sucks?
when it became legal,
Right.
Great, we won. Oh wait, now we actually have to
Failed.
work
Yeah,
and
sure.
do the
Right.
business.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, so it's I think that's an area of opportunity to
Sure.
to really probably take some time to bask in wins and have some celebratory structure.
Well, and I think like celebration can mean something so small. So I had a conversation with Anna this morning. We were talking about this meeting that Drew and I had earlier in the week that I was telling her, I'm like, even if nothing comes from it, I feel so proud of how that meeting went. It was positive. We came in with an awesome attitude. I really believe we can offer what they're looking for. Like it feels like a good match. We had a positive conversation. So regardless of the outcome, that was a great afternoon. And like that was, 90 seconds worth of conversation. I chalk that up to a celebration.
Yeah.
And we'll see what
That's
happens.
huge.
I mean,
that's big though.
Yeah.
That's important.
I mean, it's such a cool thing, and I'll brag on Larissa Media. I know that's not at all what this podcast is for, but like, we work with small business owners only, right? And I'm so happy, and this is a moment of celebration.
Yeah,
so
sure.
drink it in, Larissa
Doesn't need to
Media
be a big
staff, if
party.
you're listening
Yeah.
in. But I mean, like, we celebrate our genuine care and love for small business owners.
Yeah.
So much. Like that meeting you're talking about.
Yeah.
It's a brand new company. She is figuring, this person we talked to, like, is figuring it out.
Yeah.
In no way can probably afford us. Right. But like, we had that meeting, and like, even though technically the goal of that meeting was a sale, right?
Yeah.
Left that meeting, that is not happening right now.
Yeah.
But we still left with like an attitude of like, man, it's cool that we can provide what that person needs.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like such a positive attitude towards a small business owner that's trying to figure it all out.
Yeah.
That's such a win. Because that's culture, right?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
100%.
We're not just a culture built on if the only attitude we had when that meeting ended was like, oh, we didn't get a sale.
Right.
Down. We left like still happy and positive. That
Sure.
like, that's why we do what we do. Like that person trying to figure out how to run a business, and we can play a small role that might lead to a large role of their success.
Yeah.
What a cool world that we get to be a part of. So,
And that's cool that you, I think that finding your Angela and having a team, I mean, people are
that
good at
means so
different
much to
things.
me.
Yeah.
hey, Angela.
Well, okay.
And that's huge.
Two small comments, and then I want to move the conversation along. I was talking about a different meeting, Drew. I was
Oh,
talking
look at
about
that.
an afternoon meeting. You're referring to a morning meeting.
It's a double celebration.
A double celebration.
Right, yeah.
But my point is,
So many meetings.
we're
Sorry, we're
not-
so busy here.
we're
There's just so many
we're
meetings.
so busy. No, I'm not talking about like balloons and cake every time. I'm
Right.
talking about like it's
Just
like-
recognizing it.
Yeah. Recognition maybe could be substituted. Although there are times you need to celebrate.
They were just taking the time to respect that, and
Yeah.
I think that's like, to your point, that's not something that I focus. When I get out of a meeting like that, I'm like, okay,
What's next?
one thing for me that I could be better at is I immediately look at what we did wrong. Right.
Yeah.
And it's not in a bad way. Like, I'm not coming to like rag on anybody about it,
Sure.
but it's just part of who I am.
How
Like,
can we improve?
Okay, cool. We did good. Great. That's what you're supposed to do. Right. Now, what did we do bad, and how can we improve it? But that's where the dynamic of a team comes in. Right. So when
Yeah,
you talk about
good
like
point.
the success of our business, I play a small part in that now, because we have a team where there's just no way that we would be where we're at without the team that we have.
Yeah.
And just having those people there's a lot of things in business that I am not good at all. Like accounting. I am very, very, very weak-handed on accounting and numbers. Getting better, learning it, but there's just so many things, Greg, which is one of my main partners, been with us for a while now, is just, good at a lot of things that I'm not good at. And so I think when you look at those things like celebrating and understanding what you're good at and what you're not good at and outsourcing it is extremely, extremely powerful and a big part of our success.
I mean, you're preaching to the choir, right? I mean, our business exists to be outsourced to for an area of your business that you're not great at,
Right.
or don't have the time to do.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, we're preaching to the choir there.
100%.
Yeah. God, I hope my wife listens to this, because I'm not the only one like me. I'm learning that today.
You're like, I identify.
This is good.
Well,
But what I mean, this is the reason this podcast exists. That was our goal from the start. We've always said, like, being a small business owner is a lonely world sometimes.
Yeah.
And if we can give people an outlet to listen for 45 to whatever, how long it takes to like notice,
Yep.
you're not alone out there.
Yeah.
That's why we're here. This
And
is
just
fun.
to provide some podcasts are awesome. We've been
Yeah.
wanting to start a
We're
podcast for
fans.
like 3
Sure.
years now, and it just never.
should
Well, it's
do it.
one of those things. Oh, there's so much. We got to worry about having bank accounts still and stuff. So
Yeah, there's that.
but it's a good motivator in here.
Well, some of what you said may be your answer to this next question, which is just thinking about small business owners in general. What are some pieces of advice that you would share that would lead them on the path to success? And one thing I heard you say, which I think is universal, no matter your industry, no matter the size, is, and this is a vulnerable and potentially really hard thing to do, but figure out where you rock. Like, where are you awesome? What are your strengths? What are your passions? Where do you want to spend your time, your energy, your focus? And then where are the things that you want to delegate, or you're just straight up, I'm not good at this.
Yeah.
I need to find someone who is good at this and create my team.
Yeah.
But I don't want to answer for you.
I think that it really comes down to a lot about finding what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
And I know everybody says that and it's a buzzword now. And,
Because it's true.
but I think it's just so, I mean, there's just so much stuff. Like, small business is hard. Like, it's not easy at all. So if you're not passionate, it's just going to be that much harder, and you're not, and it's, I think, finding the areas that you're good at and understanding what you can outsource and just doubling down on what you're good at, and don't care about what you're not good at, like, just outsource it or try to learn. I mean, you can try to learn it, do what you want, but if it's something that, I think for me, like, I found so many things that I wasn't good at in business, but I didn't have anybody else to do them at the time, right? So there was a lot of times where it was just two of us in the company, and I had to do a lot of things that I didn't like to do. So I found myself just getting bogged down in all these things that I didn't enjoy. And then it starts to affect everything else, because then I'm not doing what I'm good at. Like, I want to be out in front of people, talking to people, and trying to provide value and, doing sales and stuff like that. But when I start having to get involved in building SOPs and doing financial reports and quarterly dividend, all this kind of stuff that I'm not passionate about, and I felt like I was lacking because I wasn't good at it and I wasn't doing it. But as a small business, sometimes you have to do things you're not good at, but just always, I think, understanding what you are good at and just doubling down on it, because the things that I think what make people unique is typically what they try to hide the most, because people want to fit in.
Interesting.
So I think that the little quirks and the things that make you weird and probably make you vulnerable and can expose yourself of who you really are the things that people hide the most. So I think, like, get that stuff out there, open up the floodgates, and just, like, show people who you really are, and see what opportunities arise. I think that's really huge in small business, because it's small business. People are they're buying you just as much as whatever you're selling. Product, service, whatever it is. It's like,
good point.
that's the shift in consciousness. Like, the brand, and I mean, the branding is still important, obviously, but I think that the product is just a part of what people buy now, and you have to figure out how to tell the rest of that story. There has to be some kind of story there. Even if, I mean, sometimes you have to make up a story, and then not like lie to people, but you have to make up a story that you manifest and turn into what your company is and who you are and how you act. I think that works.
There's an old phrase, people buy from people. And I think we're living in the world where businesses are humanized as people more than ever.
Yeah.
So I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like, people buy from people if they know what that company is like as a person.
Yeah. And just don't be afraid to fail either. That's another buzz. That's a buzz phrase, but it's just, you got to just send it sometimes.
Full send, bro.
Full send, bro.
Yeah.
Cause you got to, I'm not smarter than most people that I meet.
That's a good thing.
I just send it. That's the biggest difference. Yeah. I mean, when you go look at businesses, it's not, I used to always think it was like, okay, business owners have, okay, what degrees do they have? Okay, it's probably one of these three. How are they brought up? It's probably one of these three ways. How are, how are they this, that, and the other? I've met some, people that own businesses, and I'm like, wow, but,
I've learned that, like,
it's just
anyone can own a business. I've actually learned that a lot.
Sure. Yeah.
It's not hard to own a business.
To own.
Yeah. It's
not hard.
No. To
Creating
own a business,
thriving business is maybe hard.
That's where it is. But, like, it's not hard to own a business. No. I've met with some, they contact us, and I'm like, Okay.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
you sure this is a good idea?
Yeah. I mean, especially world of marketing, and the worst thing for a really bad company is good marketing. So I'm just like, this
right.
probably just isn't going to work well. But
That's I think it's just important because, and I always try to tell people that because I think that and especially in the world of the internet and Google, and I mean, there's so many things that I learned, like starting the studio. I YouTubed everything, and I was getting clients over, I was in a little tiny apartment, like a 500 square foot apartment, and I was getting clients that used to go to like one of the biggest studios out there with like 5 recording rooms and all that stuff, and I YouTubed everything. Like I just learned how to do it because I wanted to, right? So I stayed up till 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'd go to bed, and I'd wake up at 7, and I'd start doing it again and again, again. And it just built up that experience and that muscle, right? Anybody can do that.
yeah.
Anybody can do that. And you just have to send it.
Yeah.
Maybe not anybody, but
Yeah. I mean,
a lot of people can. Like just a lot of people that I talk to that have ideas.
you just
gotta-
will are
Sure.
two different things.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's just you gotta go do it. You gotta full send.
Full send, bro.
Do you know the name Rachel Hollis?
I know the name.
She's like,
She wrote that Girl Wash Your Face book.
I think
Girl, Wash Your
my
Face, Girl Stop
I
Apologizing.
feel like people know the title of the book more than her name.
Yeah, she's like the queen right now of like personal development, specifically for women. I mean, I'm sure men can read her book, but her tagline, and she has 2 podcasts, but her tagline is she has built her empire with a high school diploma and a Google search bar.
yeah.
And she has,
That's legit.
I think she changed it though. Google probably like ragged on her, but
and a
it's
search.
now like an internet search engine.
Bing search bar.
Yeah, but
They'll take it.
With
They weren't
Bing.
mad.
I'll take the promo.
bless. Are they still in existence? I don't know. But anyway, the point, her point is like, yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
I wanted it so much, and I was
Yeah.
so passionate about like the lane that she's running in. She was so passionate about it. She made it happen, and she worked. She was working hard, but that's her tagline.
Yeah.
She's like, I'm not the most this, that, or the other.
No.
Yeah.
I just love this.
Every answer you had, like, I think you pointed out, like, they're cliche answers. But, like, one of my favorite cliches that I say a lot right now is, like, there's truth in the cliches. That's the reason they're
legit,
cliches.
man. That's why you keep hearing them
Yes,
over and over.
like, there's a reason they're cliche, and it's
Yeah.
because there's truth in them.
Yeah.
And it's,
But I think a lot of people don't. For me, for a long time, like I didn't want to say things that were cliche because I was like, oh, everybody
They're
says
cliche.
that. Like,
Yeah.
duh, everybody gets that. But everybody says it in different ways,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So if somebody's listening and anybody for some weird reason looks up to me more than they do somebody else, but they've heard me say something that they've heard before, it's just maybe it takes this time to click,
Yeah.
right? Because I've had that happen before where I've heard it before, somebody says it a little different, and that moment it just makes more sense to me.
we had Lindsay from Jefferson Street Barbecue on last week, and one of her answers to this question was just like, never give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like, you want to talk about something that's cliche.
Yeah.
I mean, right? How long has that been being said? But it's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, especially in your world.
Yeah.
I mean, if that wasn't one of your true cliches, you wouldn't be here.
Persistency
Yeah.
is key.
Just never giving up. No matter how many times
Yeah.
your bank account gets shut down.
Yeah.
No matter how many times, you know what I mean? The list is long. Just literally never give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Austin, we have a signature question that we ask everyone
Okay.
on the podcast. We're called the Small Success Podcast. So what we want to know is, what is one small thing that you do that has contributed to your success? And this could be anything. It could be a snack. It could be this amazing habit that you built into your life.
Okay. This is easy for me because it's definitely one of the biggest things that has made
Cool.
a change for me. And it's a habit and a couple part procedure. So one big thing for me, again, is playing on the subconscious mind. When I go to bed at night, almost every night, sometimes I don't do it because as humans, we find out things that work really well and then we don't do them. I don't know why, but
Yes.
so one big thing that I do is before I go to bed, I listen to a thing on YouTube. It's called Dr. Wayne Dyer's 5 Minutes Before You Sleep. And it basically just talks about how it's very easy for when you go to bed to right when you lay down, you're kind of thinking again about things that maybe went wrong, or somebody that wronged you, or somebody that pissed you off.
Regrets of the day.
Yeah, your brain. This is what your subconscious does. Your subconscious is there for survival, not thriving, right? So you have to train it to think differently. So, what I try to do is I listen to this. It's 5 minutes, and it basically just says, focus on everything that went right for the day, because right before you go to sleep, your subconscious takes over as you sleep, right? And so whatever momentum that you had in that day before is subsiding, and now your subconscious takes over. So whatever you're programming into your subconscious brain before you go to sleep is what you're now marinating in while you sleep.
Yeah.
So then you're going to wake up in that space. So if you're thinking about people that did you wrong, it's easy to immediately wake up and think about them, right? So that's huge for me. And as you drift off to sleep and right when you wake up are the two most powerful moments in your day, because you're slowing down your trajectory and then you're starting your momentum again. So I do that. And then when I wake up in the morning, a huge thing for me is to not consume any content on social media until I am in alignment. So
define alignment.
I have to understand what I need to do in my day before I know what anybody else is doing in their day.
So your calendar app is your first one you check.
What?
Your calendar app is the first one.
I don't check any calendar or anything. This is a sole purpose thing, focus. Okay. So it's less meeting, call,
less tactical, more
yeah.
soul.
So it's more of hey, who do I want to look like, and what does that person do, right? Who am I in 5 years, and how do they act? And then I extract those things and try to insert those into my day. But I think that when you wake up and you start scrolling through Facebook, right, and you go to the bathroom, you have a perfect time to start doing the scroll, right? And I think that you can become absorbed in other people's vortexes, right? And it's very easy to say, hey, man, he just got a new car. I don't have a new car yet. Oh, that dude's doing that. Maybe I should do that today. Maybe I should. Oh, that's looking really good for them. Maybe I should do that. So I think it's easy to get sucked up in other people's vortexes, and then it comes back to what should you be doing that day, right? So waking up and not consuming any content until I have myself in alignment and understanding, okay, what does Austin need to do today? What do I need to do today to best serve myself, my business, and the people around me, right? And then listening to some things that are in alignment with that. So I'm a huge YouTuber of content. Like I huge consumer of just stuff on, if I'm in the car, I'm usually consuming something on YouTube, and just people speaking on things like that. So Abraham Hicks is a big one for me, and getting in your own vortex, understanding what you want out of your day. How do you create that without consuming anybody else's content? Because what I've found is it almost creates a shield and a funnel. So I can create a shield against things that I don't need in my day. It's much easier than when I wake up and it's the first thing that I do, because now I'm weak. I don't know what I want out of my day. I don't know what I need to do. And I'm just kind of going with the flow and whatever, so whatever pops up, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. When I create it, and I see those things that don't align with what I want in my day, they just roll right off.
Yeah.
And then I'm also creating a funnel to where I'm now, it's like when you get a yellow car and you see yellow cars everywhere.
Yeah.
If I'm wanting a certain thing out of my day, then my subconscious is going to find it.
For it. Yeah.
It's like you just said, having conversations of your 5-year goals, and then they just start happening. It's because your brain is now searching for them because you created that momentum. So that's probably one of the strongest habits that I've found works well for me.
It's awesome.
It's powerful stuff.
Really is.
Dang.
Okay.
I didn't know what else to do but laugh because the awkward silence.
Like, oh my gosh. Okay. I have 2 show follow-ups, and then I'll sign us off. And thank you, Austin.
Thank you for having me. It's been wonderful.
Number 1, Bing.com still exists.
Good.
Number 2.
Sure.
Bing, hold on, disclaimer. Bing is actually the number 1 search engine used by our target market.
Really?
Which is what?
Well, it's people that are slightly older than us.
Okay.
And they use Bing still.
Is it the default browser on like a PC?
I think it is. I think that's where that comes
from. That
from.
would make sense.
Yeah.
Like Internet Explorer users still.
Should never have knocked Bing.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Bing's there.
Bing.
They're
You can Bing it. I mean,
Bing
you
it.
can ding it. Knock it.
Also, the image of the day I'm being is that Paris is photo ready this week. Okay, and then to clarify that little saying that we were trying to find, it's a rising tide lifts all
ships. Boats.
Yeah. Okay, I have one last question for you, Austin, and that is, how many times a day do you guys use dream in a sentence? As you've been talking, my brain is like, dream team. You're living your dream life. Do you?
The dream team. That's good.
His dream
I would
life.
say we use it fairly often. It's
Okay,
there's
good.
a lot of dream teams, living the dream.
Yes.
Dream big.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
So we definitely overplay that. For sure.
I feel like that song
Good.
should
That
just be
makes me
playing over
really-
your office
Yes.
speakers
Yeah.
at all times.
Yeah.
Dream, dream, dream.
Well, Austin, in all seriousness, thank you for coming on today. This was a
Absolutely.
great
Thanks for having me.
conversation. And if you want to find out any more about Austin or Dream Nutrition, I will have everything linked in the show notes below. We appreciate your knowledge, your education, your leadership, not only in your industry, but in the business world in general. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So, as always, thank you so much for listening. You can find everything over at LarrisonMedia.com. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.